than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
It's Monday. Welcome, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the 223rd episode of Make Your Day Richer. I hope you had a great weekend. I had a fantastic weekend and also not a fantastic weekend. I broke my glasses. So right after the show today, you can't really see it because they're clear, but no, you can't. So right after the show today, I get to go get new glasses, which was not in the budget for the end of April. But here we go. These glasses are actually very old and I need new glasses. I just haven't gotten new glasses. So there's that. So hopefully in a week I'll have fun new glasses that aren't a lot of money. Get them in before the tariffs come. Speaking of money, if you'd like to support the show, please go to buymeacoffee.com/makeyourdayricher. It's how I can get new glasses, and it's also how we can continue to bring you new shows every Monday through Friday. We were updating the calendar the other day. We have shows, new shows scheduled every day until the second week in August. So we need to keep going. So please consider buying us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/makeyourdayricher. But what else did I do? I had family in town for a couple hours. So I got to hang out with Patrice and that was fun. And I also watched the Martha Stewart documentary, the one that she put out. It's called Martha. It's on Netflix, I think. It was really good. I mean, I've always been a Martha Stewart fan. I love Martha Stewart. And the America's first self-made billionaire, woman, self-made billionaire. I mean, her story is, you need to watch this documentary, but also it made me really sad. It felt like she had a not great childhood and a lot of not great things in her life. And she seems kind of sad to me. And she seems like one of those people that distracts herself, like is such a workaholic and is such a perfectionist to distract from, I don't know, feelings. And so it made me kind of sad to watch her talk about some stuff that happened in her marriage and, obviously her jail time and all that stuff. She just seemed so sad. Like, I want to give her a hug. And she comes from a not hugging family. And I was like, Anyway, watch that. I think it's on Netflix, so watch it if you can. It's so good. And it really gives you an insight into who she is and how she became to be what she is. And yeah. Anyway, it was really good. So I did that. And then I did nothing else besides sit on my glasses. I was on the couch and I took them off to rub my eyes, put the glasses down. The dog needed to come in, open the door, sat on the glasses. So that's always really fun. But I do, however, want to congratulate, where did it go? Our number one show of last week, Geeks and Guide Dogs, with Ben and the lovely people from Guide Dogs of America. So watch that show, of course, wherever you watch this show right now or listen to it. That was our number one most viewed show of last week. Oh, wait, I forgot that we have new since our number one show of last week. Reading Lux, we have all kinds of fun stuff happening that we didn't have with StreamYard. Okay, and also in just a couple weeks, make sure you are setting your calendar alarm for Kaleidoscope Fest in Waxhaw, North Carolina, May 10th, 10 to 6. All kinds of fun stuff for you, your family, your kids, and I'll be there emceeing the entire event. So, and my dad will be flying in from Wisconsin as well, so you can meet him too. So put that on your calendar. Waxhaw, North Carolina at the Downtown Park, May 10th. It's going to be a really, really fun day. I'm excited. Okay. Let's see. Oh. So also this weekend, which made it fantastic, is that I was on TikTok and there was a guy who had a video about celebrity Barbies, and Rosie's Barbie, which I forgot to grab, which I have 4 of, was not mentioned. And so I told him that and tagged her. And then she liked my comment and responded to it. We are getting so close, I'm telling you. So what I've decided is that every day starting today, I'm going live on TikTok at some point throughout the day. And I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to tag her and I'm just going to sit on TikTok, go live every day until one day she decides to join me. Because Rosie, come on. I'm offering you a bouquet of koosh balls to come on my show. Would you? Make my day life richer. It's like I said, the 223rd episode of Make Your Day Richer. Let's see how many views and downloads we've had in 223 episodes. Drum roll, please. Apparently, it's not there. Why is it not there? I'm not sure. Anyway, we have had live TV 339,910 views. 339,910. I think here we'll do this. Yeah, I know it's magical. It's magical, I tell you. And like I said, if you'd like to support the show, if you love watching the show and you want more of this show, buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/makeyourdayricher. And it's really a great way. You'll see at the end of the show, your name will be in the credits, and you really get to help make this show what it is every day. All right, we have an amazing show today. So we are going to get started, shall we? Joining us today is an expert in helping people navigate the complex journey of grief and loss. Victoria Volk is an advanced certified grief recovery specialist and the creator and host of the Grieving Voices podcast, where she provides a platform for others to share their experiences. She's dedicated to helping those whose lives have been upended by grief move from surviving to thriving. So please welcome Victoria Volk.
And thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, I'm excited to meet you and to chat about everything that you're doing. Tell everybody first of all what your title is, and then I kind of want to dive into that of like what that means and how you got into
I have a lot of titles.
it.
I'm a certified grief specialist and a certified Reiki master and certified biofield tuner practitioner and certified UMAP coach. So I have a lot of certifications, but yeah, it's energy work, grief work, kind of. It all kind of comes together pretty well.
What did you, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? I'm assuming not a grief specialist as an 8-year-old.
No, actually, there was a lot of things. I wanted to be a lot of things. I wanted to be an airline stewardess. Or a flight attendant. I wanted to be a National Geographic photographer.
Of course.
Coast Guard. I thought about like everything, but coincidentally, like everything involved travel. So travel is something I would really love to do. I did end up joining the military and traveled that way. Saw a lot of the world that way, but yeah, which I didn't plan on either. So I mean, we can make all kinds of plans, but
yeah,
it has a funny way of taking those plans and throwing them out the window, and you find yourself as a grief specialist. And
how did that happen? Like what brought you to that?
my own process, actually. About 5 years ago, going on 6 years, I finally worked through my own grief and trauma and past and through the grief recovery method, and it changed my life. And I'm a facilitator of this evidence-based method of processing specifically grief. And it doesn't have to be someone who has died, because we can grieve a childhood that we didn't have. We can grieve the loss of safety and security that we didn't experience as children, which was my story. We can grieve the loss of a dream or, divorce, estrangement, financial ruin. There are many things that we grieve that don't involve death.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was going to be one of my questions too, because grief can also happen around positive things too, right? Like a child going off to college, you can still
Yeah.
grieve that, like, oh my gosh, I don't have my baby at home anymore.
Yeah, I've experienced that already, and I'm pretty
Hmm.
close to being an empty nester, and what does that mean for me? Yet to find out, but it's the changes and transitions in our lives, that can cause us grief too, like you just mentioned, because we don't like change. We're not very
Yeah.
comfortable with change, and grief is the change of familiar pattern of behavior, and we often resort to things to feel better when those things happen. So we might resort to alcohol, we might resort to gambling or shopping or relationships or fantasy or scrolling on Facebook, these things that help us to distract ourselves, to feel
Yeah.
better.
What about the people who then would go like, well, this happens to everybody all the time. Like it's not an extreme enough grief, or I don't need help because, it's my life isn't as bad as blah blah blah.
I have people in my life who say that.
Yeah.
Everyone dies and it is what it is
Mhm.
and it's
My
going to
grandpa
happen
used to
all.
say, walk it off.
Yeah, or just suck it up, buttercup. I'm
Mhm,
in a
mhm.
very German, heavily German, stoic, you know, the people that came and settled in my area were tough cookies. So there wasn't time for feelings, right? So
Mhm,
it's, and I think culturally, Western society, that isn't just a German cultural thing. I think it's a society thing too. Like we just stuff it down and we bury it and we don't know how to talk honestly
yeah,
about how we feel and struggle with that, struggle with communication. And because most of us didn't have that example for us.
mhm,
When you come out of the womb, you don't come with a manual, right? So all as a parent, I was winging it, and my mother was winging it, and my father were winging it, and we never talked about grief. There was no talk about feelings, and so there really wasn't space for my grief as a child until I was almost 40. I was 40
yeah,
when I was really felt like I had the space to just let it all out and
mhm,
process it. So what happens in the meantime is the grief stacks up, right? Because we have these experiences from childhood into adulthood. We have pets that die, we have friendships that fall apart, we have friendships that or friends that die. We have, like I said, we move, we have these all of these life transitions and changes. Grief stacks up and it's cumulative and it's cumulatively negative. And so when you get to that point where you have that one loss that just kind of sweeps the rug under your feet and you realize, "Oh, yeah, there really is something deeper here going on." You have to have that self-awareness that, and that's the thing, like, we don't connect the dots of our behaviors to our feelings and what we're experiencing internally.
I think I know the answer to this question because it probably is. It depends. But at what point in like a grief process should someone be seeking help? And certain things, should it be before the trauma? Like if you can know that a death is coming, and should you start seeking help before then? Divorces, like sometimes you're too attached to it right away. Like, does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
and I'll say that it's never too late and it's never too
Mhm.
soon.
Okay.
It took me over 30 years to come to the point where, "Oh my gosh, I this is grief. I need to really work on this. This is a repetitive thing that's happening in my life when," and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm
Yeah.
sick and tired of projecting, um, my past onto my children, which is what I was doing, which is what we often do as parents because our children bring up every single insecurity we we have, and it that's an opportunity to look at the past, to face what we are afraid to look at.
Mm.
And that's how you break the generational patterns of how do you talk about grief? How do you look at grief? How do we process it? How do we talk about feelings? Anger was very much around me growing up. So, and I was very much the caretaker, the emotional caretaker of everyone around me. Like if everyone else was okay, I was okay. And I saw that like just playing out in my adulthood, just really internalizing any criticism or really internalizing anything that I was feeling in an effort to make sure that my environment was as calm as possible, which was
Mm.
really difficult as a child.
Yeah. Yeah. I always tell people everybody's hell is hot.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. Like if you feel like there's something there, talk about it. Can you talk a little bit about the grief recovery method, like what that is and how it's important in what you do?
So in my I it's a part of my Do Grief Differently program, which is 12 weeks, and through that, I work with grievers through 2 of their most difficult losses in their life, relationships, and even if the person has died, that relationship continues. You still have
Mm,
feelings about that person, and those feelings still come up. So that relationship continues, and so it's, um there's a process to work through apologies, forgiveness, the all of the things that you wish you could have or would have or wanted to say but couldn't for whatever reason, maybe because they've already died or maybe because the person's living and they're not that person that can receive what you need to say. But there is a way to become emotionally complete even if that person is living and still in your life,
mm,
to be honest,
yeah.
like because we have difficult relationships in our lives that, especially family, right? Like, unless you're gonna completely cut yourself off from your family, they're your family. And if it's someone you desire to still keep in your life, there is a way to do that with by working on yourself, because that's really the only thing you have control over. Because that
Mm,
person will that person change unless they have complete self-awareness? Probably not. So then you have a choice to make, and you have to own those choices, but it's through this process that you get the clarity around that. Is this someone I still wanna keep in my life? If I'm going to keep them in my life, then you realize, "Oh, I don't have where are the boundaries? What is a
mm.
boundary?" Most of us don't even know what boundaries are.
Yeah.
I didn't until I went through the process myself.
Yeah.
You recognize um, what you won't tolerate, and then how to communicate that in a compassionate way, because you still can communicate it in a compassionate way.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, especially around family when it's all, but that's who they are, or but it's your sister, you can't treat her that way, or you can't not talk to her. Or, I in my own family, we went through some drama where I wasn't talking to siblings and my mom would just say like, I just wish we could all get along. Can't you? You're just brothers. I'm like, yeah, but we're also people. Like, and I think that's important to remember too, that you are related, but they're people with we're all people that have problems and insecurities and things going on that at the end of the day you have to do what's best for you.
Yeah, we all have our stuff, right? And the
Yeah.
thing is even though you've grown up in the same household, your childhood experience, your growing up experience was
Mm,
probably vastly different because of your relationship being different towards the parents, like, right? Like, every
yeah.
relationship is unique. So it's unique amongst other siblings, it's unique amongst your parents as individuals, like each parent. And so, yes, you grew up in the same household, but you have a very different experience. And
So
that's what people
true.
don't realize either. And that's where a lot of the conflict comes between siblings or within family dynamics, is because you might feel a certain way about this parent who maybe passed away and might resent the other sibling because they aren't feeling the same way, right? Like, you should
Mhm.
be this way, you should be feeling this. But yet, not take into account their experience was very different than yours, even though you grew up in the same
Mhm.
household, right?
Yeah, yeah, and even if the parents are still alive, you're
Yes.
like that is sometimes even more complicated because then
Yes.
There's still living people that are playing a part in this.
Yes, yes. And so it's our responsibility to take responsibility for our feelings, for how we are showing up in those family dynamics. That's the only thing we can control. That's what this work helped me do and helps countless others do as well.
Well, I know you're also helping a ton of other people through your podcast, Grieving Voices, so you can learn more about grief through that. Tell everybody about the podcast and like how often it comes out and what days.
Yeah, every Tuesday is a live episode or comes out every Tuesday. And it's going on 5 years. It'll be 4.5 years or so now. It's for grievers, by grievers. Let's grieve. If I have an expert that wants to come on and share their expertise on a certain topic, particularly probably grief, if they're not willing to talk about their own grief, they're not coming on my podcast. I take that very seriously because I want people on who are willing to share their story. And that's the only way that we can deeply connect is through story. And if you, the listener, if I, the interviewer, am not connecting with you as a guest, my listeners aren't going to connect either.
Right.
So I take that very seriously. It's regardless of what you have put out in the world or what you do in your life, we all grieve something. And I feel like it's very important to highlight all the different kinds of grief. And so that's, my mission is to talk about grief like we talk about the weather.
Yeah. Well, and I love that because grief can be so isolating, right? And like you think, well, I can't tell you that I'm grieving over whatever it is. And this gives people a place to go, oh, someone else is like me and going through what I'm going through.
And that's how the vision actually came to me for the cover art was me with a megaphone on an island, because that's how you feel, right? You feel like you just want to scream to the world, and like you are on an island, right? You feel like you're the only one in feeling the way you're feeling, and there really probably aren't a lot of people you can talk to because we're grief illiterate, and that's part of the reason too. I'm very passionate about educating people about grief. So that's another part of my mission, but yeah, it's been my labor of love. I really love my podcast, and happy to bring all kinds of grieving voices to listeners.
Good. And it's of course available where you get the podcasts.
Yes.
Of course.
And on my website too.
What do you love most about your life right now?
Oh, I'm so excited for 2025. I have another one leaving the nest, going up to college, and I've put a lot of work into laying a foundation, I think, the past 5 years in my business to be a launch pad. So I'm really excited for 2025 to like be the really launching year. I've accumulated all of this knowledge and skill set and experience, and have done a lot of personal self-work, and I feel like this is my time. So
I love it. I love that. That's so exciting. I can't wait to like watch what happens all year long with you. It'll be so fun.
Yeah.
What's the best way that people can connect with you and follow you?
Probably my website has all the links to all the things. I'm mostly on Instagram. Theunleashedheart.com. You can find all the links for all the things. I just launched an energy healing membership where 2 times a month you can receive energy healing. Plus you have access to the recordings to go through them again and again and again. And I have some educational modules in there as well for people to deepen their knowledge of energy work and all of that. So yeah, I have that's kind of like my playground. That's where I like to experiment and play and try new things and bring energy healing to more people.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for doing the work you're doing and really shining a light on grief for everybody, because it's so important to talk about. Victoria, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Sure. We'll be right back after this. Don't go away. Life is difficult. Are you feeling overwhelmed or like you could use a little support for your mental well-being? Visit the Help Hub. It's the most comprehensive and inclusive free online destination for mental health resources, helpful tools, crisis hotlines, and supportive content. Just go to thehelphub.co to find the resources you need when you need them most. Unlike other resource pages, the Help Hub is divided into 16 different categories, ensuring that everyone in every community has access to the resources and support that matches their unique needs. Find the help you're looking for at thehelphub.co. That's our show, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Go make your day richer. Go make somebody else's day richer. You've made mine by watching the show, and I love you for it. It's now the perfect time to just share the show wherever you're watching and listening to tell everybody else to watch the show. We'll be back tomorrow with Sharice Walker, who's the host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast, and so much more than that. So we're going to talk about it all tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.